Hello. Hi, I'm back outside currently, walking around, waiting for people to come on in, come on in, come on in. Another one of my daily walks. I think this is the vibe. Again, while I'm going on my walks, I'll just bring my phone every other day and stream if there's something I feel like I need to talk about. And today, I feel like there's something I need to talk about. Me, especially being a massive Spider Man fan, as you guys know, Spider Man Brand New Day. We've been getting a whole bunch of stuff for this movie the last 2, 3 days, maybe a little longer than that. How's it going? Welcome to the chat, guys. We're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about the big thing we saw today. We saw that suit. How do we feel about the suit, guys? How do we feel about Tom Holland's suit? How do we feel about the new Spidey suit? I want your honest opinions. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Is it exactly what you wanted? Is it the furthest thing from what you wanted to see from this suit? I don't know. Let me know. How do y'all feel about it? Me personally, while I'm getting your opinions on the new suit, I'll let you know what I think. I think it's an absolute banger. I think that the suit looks really, really good. I woke up this morning. It was like the first thing I saw, and I almost did a backflip when I saw it. That's a lie. I was comfy, wrapped in my blanket. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the suit. Let's see what you guys are saying. Mid, okay, I disagree. Looks spectacular. I agree with that. I find it okay, and that's my honest opinion. I don't hate it anymore. It's just You don't hate it anymore. Like, did you hate it at one point? Is that what you're saying, or you're just indifferent to it? I think it looks really good. My favorite Spider-Man suit, live action wise, is probably, I always flip flop between the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire suit and Andrew Garfield's suit from the second film. And this suit is giving me those kind of vibes. You can never go. Sorry for all the nature sounds. Nature, calm down. Calm down. It's so loud. Sorry about that. But you can never go wrong with a really classic looking Spider-Man, in my opinion. It doesn't take much to please me as a Spider-Man fan when it comes to the suits. I like anything that's leaning towards that traditional red and blue. So for me, they knocked it out of the park. I only had one singular thing that I didn't know how to feel about. I'm kind of coming around on it now. Or I guess two gripes if I have to be super nitpicky, but they're kind of nothing burger arguments about the suit. One thing, not the first thing that stood out to me, but if I was nitpicking and I had to pick my first gripe that I would change, I would alter the belt just a little bit. I'm not too big of a fan of the look of the belt whenever it's kind of just flat around his hips or going around his waist. I like the pointy belt, and I think that that's something the red and black suit at the start of No Way Home and the Raimi suit nailed down. This has more of the rounded off, almost flat belt that you see in the TASM 2 suit, which is one of my gripes with that suit, and all the previous Tom Holland suits. Another thing that was kind of another gripe that I had with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit as well, even though it's one of my favorite Spidey suits on the big screen of all time, is the placement of the logo is a little lower than I would have liked. It's not as low as the TASM 2 logo. Like, the TASM 2 logo is damn near on his stomach. So we're not having a repeat of that, thankfully. But I do wish it was just a tiny bit higher. But other than those two things, I'm a big fan. I really like it. Let's see, like, it's the final swing, but live action, and at the time I hated the final swing suit because I thought it was overrated. And now seeing it more, it's just okay. What's overrated about it? Do you like the classic Spider-Man suit, or do you not? If you think the classic Spider-Man suit is overrated, then I get what you mean. But if you like the classic Spider-Man suit and think that suit's overrated, I don't understand that take. But again, if you think the classic red and blue just across the board is overrated, then I get where you're coming from. But for me, that's all I want. All I want is the classic red and blue Spider-Man suit. My thing to change it, the back logo, the biggest mistake for me or the biggest for me, the raised webs. Don't worry, I like raised webs on Toby, but ever since Andrew got raised web, it started being less unique to Toby. I don't, I don't agree fully with that either. I don't look at the raised webs as a semblance of identity for a singular Spider-Man. I get what you mean to an extent. Like I can understand wanting each Spider-Man to have their own defining trait. Like I would say for Tom, it's the expressive lenses. And to a degree, at one point, I would have agreed with you when it comes to seeing Toby with the raised webs and then Andrew getting it. And when Andrew got it, I liked how it looked, but I did think, oh, this is close to the Raimi suit. But at this point, having seen both the raised webs and non raised webs on the big screen, I think the default, in my opinion, for on screen Spidey suits should just be raised webs across the board because it gives more texture to the suit. One of the biggest gripes that a lot of people have with the Tom Holland previous suits were whenever he went into the CG model, it was too smooth, too flat, no texture. And the raised webs can help eliminate that problem at least a little bit. So that's why I'm rooting for it. I'm not really upset about that. The Raimi suit, the Tobey Maguire suit, is still pretty unique to itself, given its own attributes, the way the lenses are shaped, the logos, the color choices, the brick pattern, which we did see return here. If I'm not mistaken, didn't the Andrew Garfield suit have like more of a hexagon pattern? I could be wrong. Maybe they all did like some brick pattern, honeycomb, whatever the case may be. But I'm pretty sure Andrew switched it up a little bit. But yeah, no, I'm a really big fan of this suit. I am curious as to what the mask is going to look like, though. That's not going to necessarily make or break it for me, but I do hope he retains the expressive lenses. Because, like you said, if you think that the raised web should be allocated to Tobey Maguire alone to be a standalone identity for that Spider-Man, I feel that way about the lenses for Tom. I hope they're not static. If they're static, so be it. If it looks good, I won't be too mad. But I do like the expressive eyes. And again, it would be weird having Deadpool and Wolverine finally in the same universe as Spider-Man. And just when Deadpool and Wolverine get emotive eyes, Spider-Man loses them. Like that would be that would make me a little sad. I like the classic suit, but I don't like the version of the classic suit. That's just me. However, I wouldn't mind seeing a full version of the suit in red and black. What don't you like about it? Do you not like the textures or the layout? I'm curious. Let me know what you don't like about it. Again, like for me, I guess some people are a bit more nitpicky than I am. I just like, if it's classic red and blue and anything near the classic suit, I'm going to love it by default. I think the only way that you can kind of mess it up to a degree is like the Homecoming suit, for example. But even then, I personally am a Homecoming suit defender. I would remove a lot of the lines, but ultimately I do kind of like that suit just because it's classic Spider-Man, just with a few extra add-ons that I could do without. This one is a superior suit in my opinion, even without having seen the mask, just because it dials back on the extra design elements. It's just clean cut Spider-Man, and that's what I like for it. I do wonder, I'm curious, is he going to add on the glider, like the web wings? Will those return? Who knows? I don't know. But I think that would be interesting if they still implemented that. I'm not sure if Peter has the resources to do that himself, because he didn't have it in any of his own suits that he made before meeting Tony, I don't think. Could be wrong. It's been a minute. I just watched Homecoming last night. Banger, by the way. I had so much fun rewatching that. I love that movie more as time goes on. Excuse me. Good Lord. Oh. We also got some new announcements last night after I ended stream. We got confirmation that both Mark Ruffalo and Michael Mando are returning for Hulk and Scorpion and Spider-Man Brand New Day. So excited for that, especially the Scorpion announcement. I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for them to introduce Scorpion in this movie. I am a little, I don't want to say off-put by the addition of Hulk. Ideally, if I was writing this movie, I would leave Banner out of it. I don't know what the goal is to have him there. Again, I have this theory that I've been workshopping around to other people that I've been talking to this movie or talking about this movie with. I'll get back to that after I read this comment. Let's see. Logo is too blocky. I wasn't big on the shiny blue and red on the original. Was too bright for me. But now seeing it in a brand new day, stuff is starting to grow on me to the point to where I find it okay. Okay, interesting. I didn't think the logo was too blocky. I thought the logo was too blocky on the Homecoming suit because it actually like had more rectangles, like a more rectangular look to it. I think this logo looks pretty sharp. I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent to the blue. I personally was a big fan of the shiny blue on the original, and I was a little sad to see it gone on the new suit, but at the same time, the new one looks so good to me that I almost don't care that it's gone, and it's not like it's completely unrecognizable from the end of No Way Home. So to me, it's fully serviceable as a continuation of that rendition that we saw at the end of that film. See, hey, maybe when we get the mask, it'll grow on me. Maybe so. Maybe so. I am excited to see the whole thing put together. I am wondering if they're going to put the... oh my gosh. My phone. Vibrating. Give me a second. Hopefully that didn't jump scare you. Let's see. Yeah. Hopefully they add the... Or I say hopefully. I wonder. I just wonder if they'll add the circular, the more round spider on the back again. Who knows? Would be cool. I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be too mad at it. Oh man, but what was I talking about? Hulk, that's right. So I had this kind of idea that maybe they're playing around with Banner and Frank Castle acting as the angel and the devil on Peter Parker's shoulders in this narrative. No relation to Matt Murdock. When I say devil, I'm not talking about Daredevil. I'm talking about Punisher acting as the Daredevil in this scenario. Or not the Daredevil. Oh my god, I messed up. Punisher acting as the devil. Punisher acting as the devil in this scenario. Let me catch my words here. And Bruce Banner, the Hulk, acting as the angel on the other shoulder, kind of whispering in Peter's ear about maybe the path that he wants to go down. I don't want them to mentor him necessarily, but they could always have some semblance of testing his, I guess, growth in knowledge on the statement of with great power comes great responsibility that he learned at the end of No Way Home, right? Because again, Bruce Banner is a character who for years has practiced restraint and controlling his anger and coming to terms with living with this alternate side to him and how to come to terms with that and join the two so he can live in the healthiest way possible. That's always been his ultimate goal for the most part. Or really, I guess, to a degree, he wanted to get rid of it entirely, but he did find a balance by the time we got to Endgame, whereas Frank Castle utilizes his anger. He fully embraces it. He runs with it. He uses it as fuel to dictate every single action that he carries out, for the most part. And having two characters like that in the ear of someone like Peter Parker, who's coming off of the heels of the events of No Way Home, losing Aunt May, him wanting and saying that he wants to end the life of Norman Osborn in that final scene, or towards the end of that film, where you see the rage, the anger, and just the bloodlust that he has for that character at the end of that movie. I thought that scene perfectly illustrated some of the more complex elements of the Peter Parker character, the anger management issues that he tends to have sometimes in the comics, that more hot-headed nature, which I can only imagine might lead him to forging that friendship with Johnny Storm. Granted, we didn't see much of a hot-headed nature to that version of the character in the MCU, but that's neither here nor there. I think ultimately when it comes to this movie, they have the potential to do something really, really cool narratively by having both Bruce Banner and Frank Castle in this film, and I hope that they really do take up the opportunity to do something to flesh out the character of Peter Parker instead of just having these two be there as the Marvel cameo of the year. You know, like, I don't want this just to be, oh, we need two characters in this movie to sell tickets. I hope they actually assist in the narrative of Peter Parker and not necessarily informing his choices fully. He ultimately should have the agency to do that himself, but maybe have some sort of influence for him to at least consider options that maybe goes off the path that he's supposed to be on. And I think that would just add more intrigue going into Doomsday Secret Wars whenever we get to see the arrival of the symbiote suit, and prolong that story, please. Like, don't have it be a one-off. This is one time where you can make the black suit a proper saga in a cinematic universe and not just a one-off tale in one movie. You can have it slowly corrupt his mind, have the characters around him that he maybe gets reacquainted with or forms new bonds with within Brand New Day and beyond, can start to react to the slow changes that he goes through under the influence of the symbiote, as opposed to it just being, again, such a stark difference between Act 1 and 3 of a singular film. So I don't know. There's so much potential going on with this movie. Most of the time, not most of the time, but my biggest goal with this stream thus far was to talk about the suit. And I'm over here talking about plot points. So Scorpion, that's another thing. I'm going to keep talking about plot points because I want to. So another thing that I meant to mention in regards to Bruce Banner and the Hulk's inclusion in this film, I think might assist the Scorpion a little bit. And some of you might be asking how on earth that's going to happen. Well, there was a little show that came out earlier this year called Marvel Animation's Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. In that show, Hulk has somewhat of an off-screen influence. I say that could be a lie. I don't remember if Banner was explicitly brought up, but something in relation to the ballpark of the Hulk character was influenced in the narrative of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, that being gamma radiation, and that being utilized for the Scorpion and his power within that show. He was infused with gamma radiation, which is what helped assist his strength and his agility and his abilities to stand toe-to-toe against Spider-Man and be such a formidable foe within that show. I'm wondering if they are going to take some of the plot elements from that version of the character, since it is an adjacent or alt-universe version of the MCU. They could very easily incorporate the gamma infusion of Matt Gargan from that show into the actual on-screen version of the character for Tom Holland to fight, which, again, if you saw that show, you know how much more powerful he presents himself once he has that suit and the gamma radiation, and what a threat he is physically to Peter Parker. And if this movie is going more that route of him being a solo Spider-Man, his first time really out on his own with little to no assistance, him fighting a gamma souped up Scorpion could make for one awesome showdown, especially with the performance that we're going to get from Homeboy that we haven't seen since Homecoming. If you go back and watch that post-credit scene, he was saying some pretty gruesome stuff that he wanted to do to Spider-Man to get back at him. So I really hope that we get to see him come through with just a menacing force, be completely vicious, be completely ruthless, and unforgiving in some of the things that he's willing to do to get whatever task he has accomplished. If that's pettiness, if he has some motive that could be somewhat honorable, I don't care. I just want a great performance, and I want to see all of these ideas and characters blend together and come to some conclusion that amplifies the story and the arc that Tom Holland's Peter Parker and Spider-Man are going throughout the MCU from this point onward. One final thing that I want to talk about here, I don't know if this is actually confirmed. This might be speculation, just hearsay. It could potentially be from the Sadie Sink casting announcement that we saw. I heard something to the effect that she's playing a character named Carly. And in the comics, if you know anything about Spider-Man and a Carly, people jump to the conclusion of it being a Carly Cooper. That would be cool. That was actually one of the ideas that I had going into the casting announcement of Sadie Sink. Potentially, she could be playing a Spider-Man character that hasn't been brought to live action yet. Carly Cooper would check that box perfectly. But the rumor also said that she's playing a character called Carly, but she isn't necessarily Carly Cooper. She's an amalgamation of Carly Cooper and another Spider-Man character blended into one to make a new character. So we'll see what happens if that's kind of like a Ned Leeds situation where he's called Ned Leeds but acts more like Genki from the Miles Morales comics. It might be a situation like that. Maybe it'll be some big revelation at the end of the film that she has a different last name that has some bearing and weight to the Spider-Man mythos. And we're like, oh my God, what does this mean for the future? It could be anything. It could go either way. Whatever the case may be, I'm just going to let them cook. A lot of the stuff that I'm seeing and hearing about this film has me super amped to see where things go. So I'm beyond excited, personally, and I can't stop yapping about this movie. So you wonder if in this they're building up to the Sinister Six for a final MCU Spider-Man movie. I would love that. I think that would be the perfect showdown. I don't know if they'll have access to Miles by that point. I would love a transition period to get from Peter to Miles. I don't want to see them actively on screen together for a long period of time. Mostly because, well, okay, part of me would like to see that, but another part of me misses the storylines when Miles takes up the mantle after Peter's death and he just carries on as Spider-Man for that universe post losing Peter. So we'll see what the MCU decides to do with that. But as of right now, we know they have no access to the Miles Morales character. Sony said they're not allowed to use him until the Beyond the Spider-Verse, or the Spider-Verse trilogy itself has concluded. But that's pretty much it. If we get some more news in regards to this movie, you'll probably be hearing from me. Not sure if I'll go live again, not sure if I'll make a video, or if I'll make a post on the community tab. Is it even called the community tab anymore? I saw they made some new community thing on YouTube, and maybe it got switched over to being called community, and now the posts from the community tab is just called the post tab. I don't know. I'm Unk. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it very much. Had a blast. It's getting really hot out here, and I can't stay out here for an hour like I did yesterday. But you guys have an awesome day. Let me know in the comments, if you're watching this after the fact of us being live, what do you think of the new Tom Holland suit that's going to be appearing in Spider-Man Brand New Day? Are you excited for the movie? And yeah, okay. Pizza time. I gotta go eat and play Marvel Rivals and write scripts and animate. Y'all have a good one. Bye. I open it coughing. I'm gonna close it coughing.